My name is David Chin and I'm a 911 dispatcher in Atlanta. I've been doing this job for 6 years. I've heard everything. Murders, heart attacks, domestic violence, car crashes. I thought nothing could shock me anymore. I was wrong. This is not a test. This is an actual emergency broadcast. At 11:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Centers for Disease Control has confirmed an outbreak of unknown origin in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. All residents within a 50-mile radius are advised to shelter in place immediately. Lock all doors and windows. Do not attempt to help anyone exhibiting symptoms. Do not leave your home under any circumstances. Further instructions will follow. It started with a phone call at 11:34 p.m. on October 15th, a Tuesday. We were having a slow night. Just the usual drunk and disorderly calls, a few false alarms. My partner Sarah was at the next station over, talking about her weekend plans. Then my screen lit up with an incoming call from Grady Memorial Hospital. I answered the call. The voice on the other end was breathing hard. Panicked. A woman mid-30s maybe. Dr. Jessica Martinez, according to the caller ID. She said, her voice shaking with terror. This is Dr. Martinez from Grady Memorial Emergency Room. We need immediate police and military response. Multiple casualties. No, wait. Not casualties. They're not dead. They're still moving. The line went chaotic. Screaming. Something crashing. Then Dr. Martinez was back, now whispering in terror. They're attacking people. The patients from the chemical spill on I-85. They came in 3 hours ago. Unconscious, chemical burns, standard procedure. But they woke up wrong. Their eyes. Jesus Christ, their eyes are milky white. And they're biting. They're biting people. I tried to stay calm and asked her, "Ma'am, I need you to slow down. How many attackers are we talking about?" She responded, her voice getting more frantic. "It's not, you don't understand. It started with 4 patients. But everyone they bite becomes like them. 10 minutes. That's all it takes. 10 minutes and they're standing back up. We have 30, maybe 40 of them now. They killed Dr. Richardson. I watched him die. I watched him stop breathing. And then 10 minutes later he stood up and he wasn't Dr. Richardson anymore. They're in the break room. Oh God, they're in the break room. I'm hiding in a supply closet. I can hear them outside. They're trying to get in. Please, you have to send help now." The scratching. I'll never forget that sound. Like fingernails on wood, but worse. Desperate. Hungry. And underneath it, this low moaning sound. Not human. Not quite animal. Something in between. I told her, trying to sound reassuring. "Ma'am, I'm dispatching units now. Stay where you are. Help is coming." But then she whispered, and I could hear she knew the truth. "My husband's name is Marcus. We have a daughter, Emma. She's 7 years old. If I don't make it out of here, tell them I love them. Tell them I tried to help people. Tell them." The line went dead. I sat there for a moment, staring at my console. My hands were shaking. Sarah looked over at me, concern on her face. "David? You okay?" I wasn't okay, but I had a job to do. I immediately dispatched units to Grady Memorial. Police, EMTs, fire department. Everything we had. But even as I was making the calls, more lines were lighting up on my board. Another hospital. Piedmont. Same story. Patients attacking staff. Then a 7-Eleven on Peachtree Street. The clerk calling in, voice shaking, describing a woman who walked in covered in blood, tried to bite a customer. A residential complex in Midtown. Multiple apartments. Screaming from every floor. Within 15 minutes, I had 47 active calls. All describing the same impossible thing. People attacking others. Biting them. And the victims? The victims were coming back. The calls kept coming. Faster and faster. My board lit up like a Christmas tree. A woman screaming, "They broke through our door." A man crying, "My neighbor is eating my husband." A child whispering, "Mommy's eyes are white and she won't stop staring at me." I tried to stay professional. Tried to follow protocol. But there is no protocol for this. Nothing in the manual about what to do when the dead start walking. Officer Mike Stevens was first on scene at Grady Memorial. I heard his radio transmission. His voice came through nervous and tense. "Dispatch, this is Unit 47. I'm at Grady Memorial main entrance. The doors are... Jesus. The doors are smashed open. Glass everywhere. I can see bodies in the lobby. Multiple casualties. I'm going in to check for survivors." I responded, trying to maintain protocol. "Unit 47, wait for backup. Do not enter alone." But he said, urgency clear in his voice. Negative, dispatch. I hear screaming inside. People need help. I'm going in now. Then his voice came back and it was pure terror. Shots fired. Dispatch, shots fired. I hit him center mass, 3 rounds, and he's still coming. What the hell is this thing? It's not stopping. It's not stopping. Silence. Dead air. I tried to raise him. Unit 47, respond. Officer Stevens, come in. Mike, are you there? Nothing. Then his radio crackled back to life. But it wasn't Officer Stevens' voice. It was that sound. That moaning. And underneath it, wet chewing sounds. Tearing. Feeding. I cut the feed. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely work the controls. Sarah was at my station now, her face pale. David? What's happening? What was that sound? I looked at her. Looked at Rodriguez at the next station. Looked at Jennifer, our youngest dispatcher, barely out of training. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's spreading. At 11:52 p.m., someone sent a video to the local news station. Channel 5. They immediately forwarded it to us, marked urgent. The desk sergeant pulled it up on the main screen and we all gathered around to watch. The video was shot from a high-rise apartment, looking down at the street below. Peachtree Street, from the landmarks I recognized. The Fox Theater in the background. What I saw on that screen made my blood freeze. The street was absolute chaos. Cars abandoned in the middle of the road, doors hanging open. People running in every direction, screaming. And chasing them, pursuing them with horrifying determination. They moved wrong. Jerky movements, like their joints weren't working properly. Like they'd forgotten how to walk like humans. Some were missing chunks of flesh, leaving trails of blood behind them as they moved. But they kept coming. Relentless. Focused. I watched one of them corner a man trying to hide behind a parked car. The creature lunged with surprising speed. The man went down screaming. Within seconds, 3 more of those things converged on him. The camera shook as whoever was filming started crying. They're everywhere, the person whispered, voice breaking. They're fucking everywhere. Oh God, they're coming into the building. They're in the lobby. The video cut off abruptly. Sarah threw up in a trash can beside the water cooler. Rodriguez just stared at the blank screen, his face ashen. This can't be real, he said quietly. This is like something out of a movie. This doesn't happen in real life. Things like this don't happen in real life. But it was happening. It was real. And it was getting worse by the minute. My board was completely lit up now. Every single line. Every neighborhood in Atlanta. Every district. The calls were coming in faster than we could answer them. People begging for help we couldn't give them. At 12:03 a.m. the power flickered. Once. Twice. Then the main lights went out and the backup generators kicked in with a loud hum. Red emergency lighting flooded the dispatch center. The CDC called our direct emergency line. Not 911. The special command line that we're only supposed to use for terrorist attacks or natural disasters. I picked up the phone. This is David Chin, senior dispatcher. A man's voice came through. Clinical. Cold. The voice of someone reading from a prepared script. This is Dr. Raymond Foster, CDC Emergency Response Division. Mr. Chin, listen very carefully. What's happening in Atlanta is not an isolated incident. We've received similar reports from 6 other cities in the past 2 hours. Memphis, Birmingham, Jacksonville, Charlotte, Nashville, Tallahassee, all following the same pattern. Chemical exposure followed by extreme aggressive behavior and apparent reanimation after clinical death. I felt my stomach drop. 6 other cities. This wasn't just Atlanta. This was... Sir, are you telling me this is a zombie outbreak? The word felt ridiculous coming out of my mouth. Zombies. Like from the movies. Like from the video games. But what else do you call people who die and come back wrong? There was a long pause. Then Dr. Foster said, carefully choosing his words. We're not using that terminology officially. We're calling it rapid onset aggressive disorder with post-mortem motor function persistence. ROADP-MFP. But between you and me, Mr. Chin, yes, for all practical purposes, that's exactly what this is. What caused it? How did this happen? We're still investigating the exact mechanism. The initial exposure vector appears to be a chemical tanker truck that overturned on Interstate 85 at 8:17 p.m. this evening. The cargo manifest listed it as industrial cleaning supplies. Standard hazmat protocols were followed at the scene. But the symptoms don't match any known chemical agent in our database. We suspect the manifest was falsified. We suspect this was biological warfare material being transported illegally. The building suddenly shook. Art. Equipment rattled. Coffee cups fell off desks. Everyone grabbed onto something stable. The lights flickered again. "What the hell was that?" someone shouted. Through the windows I could see a massive plume of smoke rising from downtown, the direction of Grady Memorial Hospital. Orange flames licked at the night sky. "Did someone just bomb the hospital?" Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. Dr. Foster's voice came back on the line, more urgent now. "Mr. Chin, I'm issuing a code red emergency declaration for the entire Atlanta metropolitan area. Martial law is now in effect as of this moment. Military units are moving in to establish a containment perimeter around the city. As of right now, no one enters or leaves Atlanta. No exceptions. Is that understood?" "Understood, sir." "What about us? The dispatchers? The emergency personnel still in the city? Do we evacuate?" There was a long, heavy pause. "Too long. Your facility is designated as an essential service location. You'll remain operational to coordinate emergency response until further instructions are issued." "Until what?" I demanded. "Until those things break down our door? Until we end up like Officer Stevens? Until we're the ones making those sounds on the radio? Mr. Chin, I need you to remain calm and continue following." I hung up on him. Slammed the phone down hard enough to crack the plastic. Everyone was staring at me. "We're leaving," I said. "Right now. All of us." Rodriguez stood up, hesitant. "But the CDC said we're essential personnel. We're supposed to stay in." "Fuck what the CDC said." I cut him off. "You all saw that video. You heard those transmissions. You know what's out there. We're not staying here to die for a government that's already written us off." Sarah was already grabbing her purse, nodding in agreement. "David's right. My car's in the parking garage. I can fit 4 people. 5 if someone sits in the back cargo area." We moved fast. Grabbed essentials. Water bottles from the break room. The first aid kit from the wall. Rodriguez had a gun in his personal locker. Licensed. He kept it for personal safety during his commute through the rougher neighborhoods. His hands shook as he loaded it. There were 8 of us on shift. We split into 2 groups. Sarah's car and Rodriguez's pickup truck. The dispatch center was on the 3rd floor of the public safety building, a converted office complex. We took the emergency stairs down to the parking garage level, moving as quietly as possible. The stairwell was dark, lit only by red emergency lights that made everything look like a horror movie. On the 2nd floor landing we heard something from below. A shuffling sound. What? Wrong. Something moving in the darkness of the garage. Rodriguez held up his hand. We all froze, barely breathing. Through the gap in the stairwell railing I could see down into the parking garage. 3 figures were down there, moving between the parked cars. They wore police uniforms. Or what was left of them. One was missing an arm, the stump trailing black blood. Another had his throat completely torn open, his head hanging at an unnatural angle, but he was still walking, still moving. I whispered as quietly as I could. "Back up, slowly. Don't make a sound." But Jennifer, one of our youngest dispatchers, barely 22 years old, panicked. She backed into the metal railing and her keys fell from her jacket pocket. The sound echoed through the stairwell like a gunshot, like a dinner bell. 3 heads snapped toward the stairwell in perfect unison. Milky white eyes locked onto us with terrible focus. Then they charged. Not shambling. Not slow. They moved with horrifying speed. Rodriguez shouted at the top of his lungs. "Go. Go. Go." We ran back up the stairs. Behind us, I could hear them coming. Their footsteps were irregular, uneven, but fast. So terribly fast. And that moaning sound, getting louder, more excited, like they could smell us. We burst back through the door onto the 3rd floor and Rodriguez and I immediately slammed it shut. We shoved a desk in front of it. Then another desk. A filing cabinet. The pounding started immediately. Violent. Desperate. The door shook in its frame with each impact. The desks we'd piled against it were sliding across the floor, inch by inch. Sarah was already at the elevator, frantically hitting the call button. The elevator. The parking garage has a street-level exit too. We can take the elevator down to the ground floor and skip the garage entirely. The elevator display showed it coming down from the 7th floor. 6th floor. Moving so slowly. 5th floor. The pounding behind us was getting louder. More insistent. The desk was sliding faster now. 4th floor. Come on. Come on. The door burst open with a crash. The desk went flying sideways, slamming into the wall. 3 creatures poured through the opening, their white eyes fixed on us with hungry intelligence. The elevator doors opened. We piled in, all 8 of us cramming into the small space. Rodriguez raised his gun with both hands and fired. The first creature's head exploded. It dropped instantly and stayed down. Rodriguez shouted, his voice cracking. Headshots. Only headshots work. Center mass does nothing. He fired twice more. The second creature dropped. But the third one reached the elevator just as the doors were starting to close. It shoved its arm through the gap between the closing doors. The safety sensors kept making the doors bounce back open. The creature was pushing through, forcing its way in. Its face pressed against the gap. Rotting flesh. Broken teeth. Those horrible milky white eyes, staring at us with mindless hunger. I grabbed the fire extinguisher from the elevator wall and swung it like a baseball bat. Connected with the side of the creature's head. Once. Twice. 3 times. 4. Finally the skull caved in. The creature went limp. The arm slipped back through the gap. The doors closed. We descended in silence. Everyone was breathing hard. Jennifer was crying quietly. Sarah had blood splattered across her shirt. Not hers. Splatter from Rodriguez's shots. Ground floor. The doors opened. The main lobby of the public safety building was a massacre. Bodies everywhere. Civilians who'd come seeking help. Police officers. Security guards. Building staff. And moving among them, crouched over them, feeding on them were dozens of those things. Maybe 50. Maybe more. It was hard to count in the chaos. We immediately hit the close door button. The door shut just as several of those milky white eyes turned toward us. Just as several heads lifted from their feeding. Rodriguez, thinking fast, said, "Basement. There's an old maintenance tunnel. Connects to the courthouse next door. Cold War era escape route. Most people don't even know it exists anymore." We went down to the basement. It was darker down here. Mustier. Filled with old file storage boxes and forgotten equipment. But Rodriguez led us confidently to a maintenance door at the very back, hidden behind shelving units. Behind the door was a tunnel. Concrete walls. Low ceiling. It stretched into darkness in both directions. We used our phone flashlights to see. The tunnel was narrow, just wide enough for 2 people to walk side by side. The concrete walls were sweating moisture. It smelled like mold and rust and something else. Something dead. We'd made it maybe halfway through the tunnel when we heard something ahead of us. Movement in the darkness beyond our flashlight beams. Multiple somethings. Shuffling. Moaning. Rodriguez raised his gun toward the sound and called out, "Who's there? Identify yourself." Our flashlights caught them. 5 or 6 figures stumbling toward us from the courthouse end of the tunnel. They must have found the other entrance. Must have come down from the courthouse. Rodriguez shouted, "Back. Everyone back." But when we turned around, there were more behind us. Coming from the public safety building. Following us. We'd been followed into the tunnel. We were trapped. Creatures ahead. Creatures behind. Closing in from both sides. Sarah pointed upward and said, hope in her voice. "The maintenance shaft. Storm drain access. Opens onto the street level." There was a ladder on the tunnel wall, leading up to a metal grate in the ceiling. A way out. But it would take time to climb. Time we didn't have. Rodriguez checked his gun. 3 rounds left. Maybe 4. Not enough. Not nearly enough. He said quietly, looking at each of us. Someone has to hold them off. Someone has to buy time for the others to climb out. "No," I said immediately. "We all go. We can make it if we..." "David." Rodriguez looked at me. His eyes were calm. Resigned. At peace. "I'm bit. Look." He rolled up his sleeve. There were teeth marks on his forearm. Deep puncture wounds. Still bleeding. Fresh. I felt my heart stop. "When?" I asked, though I already knew. "In the parking garage. When we first ran past those 3 infected cops. One of them grabbed me. Got its teeth in before I could pull away. That was..." He checked his watch. "That was 12 minutes ago. Dr. Martinez said 10 minutes. I should already be turning. I can feel it. Something's wrong inside me. Something's changing." Jennifer started sobbing. Sarah looked away, tears running down her face. Rodriguez smiled. It was tired. Sad. But genuine. "Get them out, David. Get as many people as you can to safety. Tell my mom I love her. Tell her I'm sorry I won't make it to Sunday dinner this week. Tell her I went out doing my job. Helping people." He turned toward the approaching creatures. Raised his gun. Checked the chamber one last time. Then he shouted at us. "Go. Climb. Don't look back. Just go." We climbed. The ladder was old, rusty. Jennifer's hand slipped twice and I had to grab her. The grate at the top was heavy, designed to support vehicle weight, but adrenaline let us shove it aside. We emerged into an alley off Marietta Street. Cool night air hit my face. I could smell smoke, burning plastic, burning flesh. The city around us was dying. Atlanta was burning. Not metaphorically, literally burning. I could see fires in at least a dozen locations. High rises with windows blown out, flames licking at the night sky. The sound of gunfire echoed from multiple directions. Car alarms, sirens, screaming. And underneath it all, that awful moaning sound coming from everywhere at once. Jennifer, her voice small and lost, asked, "Where do we go? What do we do?" That's when we heard it. The distinctive sound of military helicopters. Multiple aircraft, flying in tight formation toward the city center. Apache gunships, Black Hawks, heavy military presence. And then we saw the jets. Fast movers, F-16s maybe. 2 of them streaking across the sky in attack formation. Sarah said quietly, understanding before the rest of us. "They're going to bomb the city. They're not here to rescue anyone. They're here to sterilize the outbreak. Burn it all. Everyone in it." I wanted to argue. Wanted to believe she was wrong. The CDC doctor had said containment, quarantine, not bombs, not wholesale slaughter. But then I saw what the jets were carrying under their wings. The distinctive shape, the payload configuration, napalm canisters. I screamed at everyone, "Run. Run now." We ran. Down the alley. Onto the main street. Around us, other survivors were emerging from buildings, all realizing the same horrifying truth. The government wasn't here to save us. They were here to contain the outbreak by any means necessary, even if it meant burning the entire city to the ground with everyone still in it. The first jet released its payload. I watched it fall. Watched the canisters tumble through the air in slow motion. Then the world turned to fire. A river of flame fell from the sky, splashing across downtown Atlanta like liquid hellfire. Buildings exploded into infernos. The heat was intense even from blocks away. I could feel my skin burning, my hair singeing. We ran toward the highway. Interstate 85. The same highway where this nightmare began with that overturned chemical truck. Behind us, Atlanta was transforming into a sea of flames. The military was burning everything. The infected. The survivors. The buildings. Everything. We reached the highway on-ramp and saw the containment perimeter. Military checkpoint. Dozens of them set up across all lanes. Tanks. Armored personnel carriers. Soldiers in full combat gear. Razor wire. Machine gun nests. Spotlights sweeping the area. They weren't letting anyone through. This wasn't an evacuation point. This was a hard barrier. No one in. No one out. Sarah, desperate, started running toward them, waving her arms and screaming, "Please, we're not infected. We're clean. We work for 911. We're emergency personnel. Please let us through." A soldier raised his rifle. Young face. Hard eyes. Following orders. "Stop right there. Do not approach the perimeter. This is your only warning." Sarah kept running, kept screaming, kept begging. "We're 911 dispatchers. We were in the command center. We're not sick. Please, you have to let us." Sarah dropped. One shot. Sent her mass. She hit the ground hard and didn't move. Blood spreading out beneath her in a dark pool. She lay there on the pavement 20 feet from safety, staring at us with dying eyes. Confused. Hurt. Not understanding why they shot her. Not understanding why they wouldn't help. The soldier, his voice completely emotionless, said, "Anyone else approaches the perimeter, we will fire. No one gets out. Presidential Executive Order 10997. Atlanta is under full quarantine. No exceptions." We backed away. Slowly. Carefully. Not making any sudden movements. The soldiers tracked us with their weapons the entire time. We're hiding now. In an abandoned gas station just outside the perimeter. Just far enough to not be shot on sight. Close enough to still see the city burning behind us. Jennifer, me, and 2 others who joined us during the escape. A teacher named Marcus and an off-duty paramedic named Lisa who was shopping downtown when it all started. The city behind us is gone. Just flames and smoke and the sound of jets making another pass. They're still dropping napalm. Still burning. Making sure nothing survives. My phone still gets intermittent signal. I've been checking the news. Social media. Trying to understand the scope of this. It's not just Atlanta. Memphis is under quarantine. Birmingham, Jacksonville, Charlotte, Nashville, Tallahassee. And now there are reports coming in from Houston, Seattle, Boston, Las Vegas, Phoenix. It's spreading. Despite the quarantines, despite the perimeters, despite the military burning entire cities, it's spreading across the country, across the world. The government is calling it a coordinated terrorist attack. Multiple simultaneous biological weapons deployments across major population centers. They're saying they have it under control. They're saying the containment protocols are working. They're lying. I can see infected outside the gas station, walking past in groups. Dozens of them. Hundreds. They're everywhere now. And they're not staying in the quarantine zone. They're spreading out into the suburbs, into the highways, following the fleeing survivors, following the scent of living flesh. The containment perimeter won't hold. It can't hold. There are too many of them. They don't stop. They don't get tired. They just keep coming. My phone just buzzed. Another emergency alert. I'm reading it now. Emergency alert. Nationwide quarantine declared. All citizens must shelter in place immediately. Martial law in effect in all 50 states. Curfew from sunset to sunrise. Anyone outside after dark will be considered infected and subject to immediate termination. This is not a test. This is not a drill. Comply with all military personnel. Do not resist. Do not attempt to flee. Stay in your homes. This is a presidential directive. Jennifer is crying. Just sitting against the wall, crying and staring at her phone, trying to call her family, but the networks are overloaded. Marcus is praying. Quietly. Desperately. Asking God why this is happening. Asking for protection. For salvation. Lisa is trying to call the hospital where she works. Trying to check on her colleagues. Trying to understand how this happened so fast. I'm recording this message because someone needs to know how it started. How we tried to respond. How quickly it overwhelmed us. How the government chose to burn us alive rather than save us. They found us. The front window of the gas station just broke. I can see them outside. Coming toward us from multiple directions. Dozens of them. Maybe more. Their white eyes reflecting in the flickering light from the burning city. Marcus just grabbed a baseball bat from behind the counter. Lisa has a knife from her paramedic kit. Jennifer is frozen. Just staring at her phone screen. At the last text message from her mom that she'll never get to answer. I should be terrified. And I am. God, I'm so terrified I can barely think. But I'm also angry. Furious. This didn't have to happen. That chemical truck should never have been on the road. The hospitals should have had better protocols. The government should have responded with rescue operations, not napalm strikes. But none of that matters now. None of it changes what's about to happen. What matters is that we're about to die. And when we do, we'll probably come back. Join the infected. Become one of them. Spread it even further. I'm sorry I couldn't save more people. I'm sorry I couldn't stop this. I'm sorry for everyone who trusted me. Everyone who called 911 tonight expecting help. Expecting rescue. And I couldn't give them that. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sorry, Rodriguez. I'm sorry I got you killed. The door's breaking. They're almost through. If you're hearing this recording, if someone finds my phone after whatever happens to me, just know that it's probably already too late by the time you hear this. It'll be everywhere by then. In every city, every town, every home. Don't trust the government alerts. They're not trying to help. They're trying to contain, to control, to cover up their failure. Don't go to the evacuation centers. Don't trust the military checkpoints. They'll kill you just as fast as the infected will. Maybe faster. Find somewhere safe, somewhere remote, away from cities, away from people. Stock up on supplies, weapons, whatever you can carry. And pray. Pray that the infection doesn't reach you before you're ready. Oh God, they're inside. They're in the gas station. So many of them. Marcus just swung the bat. Hit one in the head. It went down, but 3 more took its place. Jennifer is screaming. Lisa is trying to fight them off, but there are too many. Too many.